thanks everyone for sending in these mailbag questions and comments. We really do appreciate that. Helps keep the show going. All right, first up now on the mailbag. What is Rico Gathers' medical status right now? Well, this one came to me on Twitter. Well, Rico should be healthy right now. I don't think there's anything holding him back from being ready to go for camp and the offseason program and whatnot. Last I checked, he was down in Louisiana right now. But it's a make-or-break year for Rico. Look, he looked great in the preseason, but he has to do more than just make touchdown catches. I know that's great. I got to see him better as a blocker, better as an all-around receiver and route running. I hope Rico can take that step forward, but he's missed an entire season. You know, he's focused a lot on his rap career, which I get. That's something that's very important to him. So there are some doubts about Rico, and I want to know from you guys. Do you think Rico is the tight end of the future for the Cowboys? I'll hold off judgment until we see the preseason stuff, but I think that it's reasonable to wonder if the Cowboys should spend a high pick on a tight end this year. They've put a lot of effort into Rico Gathers. He's got to prove it now on the field in the preseason. If he struggles, he might not make the active roster. We'll keep it rolling now. Brian Strauss says, who are they looking at to replace Jason Witten? The reality is, at some point, the Cowboys have to move on from Witten. Look, he's a franchise icon. He can still play at a nice level. He's not the same guy he was in the prime of his career. He's going to turn 36. At some point, Dallas needs to say, you know what, Jason, thank you for your career. Go be successful as a coach. I want to be the tight ends coach, by the way, at some point in the near future. But at some point, the Cowboys have to move on from him. The issue is, based on their pre-draft visits and meetings, the Cowboys haven't shown much interest in tight ends. They brought in David Wells for a workout, but he's a day 3, probably a late to the option at San Diego State. So we'll mention some of the top guys this year, no real particular order yet. Dallas Goedert, Hayden Hurst, Mike Gesicki, a freak athlete out of Penn State, Mark Andrews, Ian Thomas, all guys that can move a little bit. If the Cowboys go tight end in the first 3 rounds, those are the 5 guys to watch. Next up, another question here from Brian. Thank you again, Brian, for all your comments. Should the Cowboys trade up for Vita Vea? Look, if you guys have watched the show, you guys know that I absolutely adore and love Vita Vea, and I love him. But you also know I don't typically like trading up in the NFL. I like to move down and get more value and get extra picks. I would consider it for Vita. The big question is, how far do you move up? If you give up your 2nd-round pick for Vita, I can't do it. I just think you can get 2 starters as opposed to the price of 1. You can still get a good DT later. As much as I love Vita Vea, I just can't justify number 19 and number 50 for one player as good and as much as I love him. But if you can give up the 1st and the 3rd, get to, like, let's say 15, 14, 16, I'd consider it at that point. The issue is, I think the Redskins and Dolphins, worst case the Chargers, are going to snag Vita Vea before the Cowboys can take him at number 19 overall. I'd love to get him, but my hopes are not very high. Steven wants to know, do I see the Cowboys trading Dez Bryant? I don't think so, and I think there are a couple different reasons for that. One, Steven, you're limited because teams that spent most of their cap space. There are only, let's say, half the teams that have the cap space right now, and that doesn't even really include the money you need to save for the NFL draft. Not all those teams even need a receiver as well. So that's some of the issues there with Dez Bryant. And I think most importantly, the Cowboys have tanked Dez's trade value, whatever it was going to be despite his large contract, because they've been very negative about Dez all offseason. They've said, oh, he's a distraction. Why would you want to trade for a player that his team just called a distraction? I think that the Cowboys have not handled this well at all. They've made it into a circus. That's why I think the reality is for Dez Bryant, it's either a cut, a pay cut, or you keep him. I would be surprised if the Cowboys found a taker for Dez Bryant. And if it is, it's not going to be a whole lot coming back in exchange for Bryant in a trade. All right, Rec wants to know, how about Equanimeous St. Brown in the 2nd or 3rd? I don't call him EQ because it's a lot easier to say. I actually don't mind this one. I'd say round 3, not round 2. He is a height, weight, speed guy. For those of you that like DJ Chark, I think you should like EQ St. Brown. He's bigger than Chark and not quite as fast, but still very fast. He's a 6'4 guy, 6'3 guy that can run that 4.44. I like that type of size-speed combo there. The production's not there for St. Brown, but I think he's a little bit undervalued because Brandon Wimbush, the Notre Dame quarterback, is not accurate. Can run, but he cannot deliver the ball accurately whatsoever. If St. Brown is on the board in round 3, round 4, sign me up. I'd love to get him. He could be a nice outside threat for Dak Prescott. All right, so some YouTube comments now. Buddy Johnson says, what do I think about DJ Moore or safety Ronnie Harrison? We'll kind of break down both of these guys. We'll start with Ronnie Harrison, and I like Harrison quite a bit. I think he's a good combo safety, got that size and speed combo that's a solid one. He produced great numbers at Alabama, but he's a combo guy, not a true free safety. Doesn't have the best range, doesn't always wrap up either. I would like Harrison in round 2. The issue is I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to go off the board somewhere between number 19, number 50. If you trade down, I think he becomes a nicer option. I just don't think Dallas would take him. I like him. I get that you think he's a talented player as well. He definitely is. But I'd be a bit surprised the Cowboys found a way to get him in this year, in the NFL draft. On to DJ Moore. And the more I watch of DJ Moore, the more and more that I like of him. And look, there are some that think he's the number 1 wide receiver this year, and I get it. Yes, you see, only 1,000 yards. Let me put it this way for you. DJ Moore is the only wide receiver since Hakeem Nicks to catch 1,000 yards in a season in college and not have a quarterback who threw for 1,500. Maryland had 0 quarterback play last year. They were all hurt, and DJ Moore still put up good stats. He reminds me quite a bit of Sammy Watkins from an athletic profile standpoint. I think I would not be surprised if the Cowboys took him, especially if they cut Dez Bryant, and I can live with it as well. I would be okay with Moore coming to the Cowboys. He's a very talented wide receiver. Let's get now to less of a question, more of a comment now from Nicholas here about Leighton Vander Esch. In my last mock draft, I had the Cowboys taking Leighton Vander Esch, and a lot of the comments said, no, we want Rashaan Evans. And I get that, and in all reality, I agree with you. I think Evans is a better player than LVE, but I actually do disagree with Vander Esch being a bum. You don't get 141 tackles and 8.5 tackles for loss and blow the doors off the combine from an athletic profile standpoint by being a bum. Is he a project? Yes, just the 1 year as a starter. And again, I do agree with you guys that I would rather have Rashaan Evans over Leighton Vander Esch. Vander Esch is a great athletic freak, and we know the Cowboys like those guys. Evans, not quite the same athlete. But I agree with you. I would rather have Evans over LVE because I think that Evans is a better player. He is a better football player right now than Leighton Vander Esch is. He's not the same athlete, but I think he's a better linebacker, going to be more productive and more solid overall. I like a lot of what I've seen from Evans. He's not going to make a ton of mistakes for you. Again, I would rather have Evans, but my suspicion is that the Cowboys would rather have Leighton Vander Esch because of the athletic potential and the upside. That even though he's not as good as Evans right now, there's a real argument, I think I agree with this, that Vander Esch has a higher potential, higher upside than Evans does. So again, I want to know from you guys here on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Which linebacker would you rather draft, Evans or Vander Esch? I would rather have Evans, but I have the suspicion the Cowboys are going to prefer Vander Esch instead.